Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans, and welcome to this playoff broadcast of the Spring Tournament 2022. We're glad to have you here. I'm Cheesinator, joined in the booth by Duskplume. Duskplume, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Friday night, semi-final action in the Spring Tournament. Looking forward to this one. You got two really good runners here in Chanigan and ganonsgonewild.
Yeah, this is a semi-final matchup, which means you're facing, or the people facing off here have been through a lot. In fact, they have, in their previous rounds, each beaten previous Spring Tournament winners. Chanigan bested Spellzap, and ganonsgonewild was able to beat Crabcakes, each in best of threes. This is the first of the best of three between these two tonight, and on screen you see their draft. They took 2 black belts and 2 red mages. What do you think of this draft?
Interesting. Definitely making sure that you have enough magic at your disposal to get yourself going in the early game until you can find and grind and get those black belts going. Not dealing with any other melee, just making sure that you're going to have one of those up, and whether it's desert, whether it's a grind tile, you're going to find something. You're going to be sitting there for a while to get them going. And as you can see from our blur scenes here, it's going to take a little bit longer to get the black belt going, as we got they can equip a defense sword and they get 40 HP, but 10% hit loss, which means probably around 3 levels or so it's going to take extra to get going. And the red mage has 30 HP and 15 vitality, so they're going to have quite a bit of health, but no ribbons. So that's going to be rough in the late game trying to keep them alive.
Yeah, these two classes are going to have a lot of HP. They'll be able to soak some AoE damage rolls in the late game, but they're going to have trouble, especially the red mages, of course, if Chaos or any of the previous Fiends have Zap, Crack, any of those things that insta-kill you, because the red mages can't wear ribbons, so they'll need to find Wall. Wall will probably be really important, but red mages cannot learn every spell in the game, even promoted. So we'll see what dangers await, but meanwhile, they're off.
And we'll see what we have early on in spells. We have Life and Life 2, both not learnable early on. And we have Bane as our main attack spell.
Yeah, Bane will get you through Garland, and it clears most of the early mobs that you'll find. Life 2 post-promo is going to be good. For now, they can pick up A-Rub, which actually does help with some of those insta-kills, and Cure 3, I believe that was, which is actually a fantastic buffed healing spell.
And wood armor for everybody, at least on Ganon's side, and we're going to find nothing very interesting for the weapons. And in the item shop, oh, there's a slab. There's a shop item. Don't have to worry about that.
Nice. And the Corneria shop item, if it rolls there, is always going to be lower price. So if you can take care of that without having to spend too much, that frees up your money to use on spells, camping gear, whatever, the rest of the seed.
As we see no encounters on the way up to Temple of Fiends, cabin in the first chest for Ganons.
So that's a big mob. Hopefully Ganons can clear this. Vorpal early. None of these classes can wear it, but there was a blessing on thieves to wear Vorpals.
Well, if for any reason we promote, there's a weapon for one of the red wizards, I suppose.
Yeah. There's, I think, a very small chance, but if all you've got left at the end is one living red wizard and a fast, maybe the Vorpal gets there. Bane gets Chanigan a lot of experience here.
See an unrunnable creep trying to take that out with Bane, no problem there. And Ganon's probably going to be the first one here to pull Garland. See if for once maybe Garland has something that'll, I don't know. No, probably not.
Cool. Yeah, first try hit there for Ganon's. If he had missed, he had 3 total charges, probably was going to get there. Sometimes you might safety save outside with the initial pack of tents.
And we see our items from the King and Sarah, Canal and Adamant. So we will have something to check on when we head back to the Dwarves area and Elfland, but probably going to Provoca first. Getting the Vorpal sword sold there. Get some early cash, pick up some items before we head east.
Yeah, I think with this shop, you're probably buying the slab. There's not tents or cabins that you can spend a lot on, but that slab will immediately start getting you more experience. Looks like Ganon is going to put it off and just hold on to enough money to get it, which I also respect, if he wants to shop heavy at the next 2 towns.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that you want to make sure that you have enough to pick up all the spells you need in Provoca, and if there is armor that you might want going there as well. And Ganon's making a play to go to Provoca first before checking Matoya, which I like, because you never know when Biggie might have the crystal, and that just makes it an easy one stop back on the way back towards the west side of the map.
Ooh, something in this group has glare. Just took down one of Ganon's black belts. I don't know if he's going to leave that dead. I think maybe in the early game you just want 4 bodies up, but eventually you're only going to funnel experience into 1 black belt with this team.
And we're already seeing divergence. Chanigan heading to dwarves early to turn in that adamant. Check the 2 chests here, which we have yet another cabin and a falchion. And the adamant is going to get us the ruby. Not immediately useful, may not be useful at all. We'll see.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of stuff that you can't really interact with until you get over to the Earth continent. Ruby gets you access to Sarda from the ground and 4 treasure chests, and Slab, of course, you can turn in, but you can't actually do anything with until you're in the air. But look at that level 2 magic.
Fade and Invis 2 both very handy. Gonna get both of those on the red wizards, and well, hopefully there's not nuke here. Nope, nothing of interest in black magic, so good white magic for level 2, and we're going to go ahead and take out some pirates.
While Ganon's is fighting these pirates and going to get another key item, let's talk a little bit about the flags. On this flag set, there's actually already been many opportunities to find key items in the wild because we have 2 loose items, but they're conditionally loose. They can't appear in the incentive dungeons. They can roll anywhere else.
One of the places they can roll is the Sea Shrine, which we just got the Oxy Ale for.
Exactly. So Sea Shrine and Volcano are unincentivized. Additionally, like Waterfalls chests, and there's some other spots that are kind of in dungeons. But yeah, Titan's Trove, you can find loose items. There are 2 of them that you might not need them, but the placing of those loose items will determine a lot about not only how they route the seed, when they grind, if they're willing to, gamble on not opening chests. There's a lot of gameplay to go with these loose items.
As we see on both sides here, one of those black belts already down for each player. I would be surprised if we see them up anytime soon. The goal here is to get 1 black belt as high as possible. And there's our first loose in Matoya, the Crown.
Nice. So that's a great one to see early because it's going to add up your experience and it gives you something you can turn in the inner sea, so you'll be able to see the result of it pretty quickly. I mean, at this point, Ship, of course, is very likely to come off of that, but if not, Ship could be in Marsh maybe. Otherwise, you're looking at Canoe progression into Sages and Ice or similar.
And what we already see here is that the early routing divergence looks like it's working a bit better for Ganon's going to get the ruby first. Not very helpful for Chanigan. Was probably looking for a ship to make the trip back easier. Getting the crown is going to go immediately into Astos after turning in the adamant, so Ganon with a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, the Provoca first route generally pays off in these flags. Like, it's usually a dead end over there, or like maybe worst case you get the canoe and you just have to wrap around down to Sages, and even that's not too bad. Because you're almost always going east and then west with the way the progression opens up in the early game here.
And another little bit of divergence between our runners. Chanigan making sure to say hello to the Hooray Dwarf. Ganon's gone wild. Oh no, I missed it. He did say hooray as well.
I was going to say, wasn't sure if he was a Hooray Dwarfer. I personally am the kind to spurn the dwarf and save the frames, or if I'm talking to it, I kill it.
Look, if you can't spare a second to say hello to the Hooray Dwarf, then what are you doing?
A second can matter. We had another race in this semifinal go to time tie. It was like a 1 second difference.
If I lose because I said hooray or hello to the Hooray Dwarf, that's fine. I can live with that.
Okay.
What we saw from Astos, there was a ruse stick, not immediately useful as far as progression, but nice to make sure that you are keeping the black belt alive.
And as Math Girl, our restreamer, points out in chat, if you stick around after this race, the tie race reroll of Wildham and Rubes will be right after this. So Final Fantasy Randomizer action all night. And speaking of action, Ganon's about to dive Marsh, which is pretty much always full of some kind of action.
It's going to be a trip in and out, no warp or exit to make this an easy one-way trip. But with charges of fade, hopefully not too much to worry about. Well, bones with stinger, that's not fun.
Yeah, I think we have a good stash of pure pots from earlier. He shopped at the item shop in Caneria, which will always have pures and softs.
Chanigan taking out Astos just behind Ganon's. Go ahead and get his Roostic.
That's a nice level to be at, too. Like, 8 on the Black Belt and the 2 Red Mages going into Marsh is going to make you feel relatively safer, though, of course, if you run into mobs like Ganon's did, maybe you don't feel too safe.
Never fun running into gargoyles at any point. They usually have something that can be rather annoying, and thankfully Ganon's was able to get away from there without having to take a wipe. He's heading down to the 3rd floor now to see what our incentive is down here. And Chanigan is going to wait on that and head to Elfland first to check out the magic.
Yeah, I'm into this. I like Elfland before Marsh almost regardless, unless you already have Warp or Exit, but you have a chance to pick them up in this town.
And what we have here in front of our incentive chest in Marsh is a possible grind tile. We get the TNT from the chest itself, but a red D. So that's something to keep in mind if we have trouble finding grind spots later on.
Yeah, Red D is a decent option. It gives, I think, worse experience than One Eye, but maybe about the same as an Agama. The problem is that they can roll a lot of attack power and a lot of like evasion and defense, even if their HP isn't that high. I know from experience, having lost one of my playoffs games in this tournament by trying to grind a Red Dragon in Ice Cave.
So there was not much in the way of magic in level 3. Now from level 4, though, we have Learnable Cure 4 and Nuke, as well as Fire 3 and Ice 3. But when you have Nuke, you don't really care about those other two.
You'll probably get Ice 3 if you have the spare slot, because that will do more damage to ice-weak enemies generally than Nuke. It's got a pretty high accuracy, and it can go up to 420 damage, I think, at max. But yeah, it's not a big enough difference that even most runners need to care about it.
So a little bit of a high five here as Chanigan is entering Marsh while Ganon's is trying to get out with that TNT. We'll see if he heads up to turn that in right away, or if he's going to go ahead and head to Elfland first. I would imagine he's probably going to turn that in, because at this point it almost has to be canoe or ship.
Yeah, whatever thing Ganon's gets off this is probably going to speed up the game. Unless, of course, it's a crystal and you got to go on the whole world tour back to Matoya, get an herb, come back down. I've seen a lot of those.
I would definitely enjoy this being, say, herb to crystal to canoe. But, you know, I'm not here for the benefit of the runners. I'm here to make sure that everybody has a good time watching. And if you got to go early canoe, that's great. But it's just a ship.
Cool. The ship will appear at the dock north of here. Fun fact, the ship will always appear at an inner sea dock, no matter where you find it, and it'll be the dock physically closest to the dungeon or entrance that you spawned it in. So some people get confused when they go to Ice Cave and they don't know where their ship is. It goes to Provoca.
Since we did get the canal very early on, we are going to have early access to get out of the inner sea. Have a couple of checks from there. We'll see just how early our runners decide to go ahead and check desert to see if maybe there is that juicy T-Rex tile or some sandworms waiting for them.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We have a decently long runoff power cycle to start, so it's going to be a little bit of a chore to grind the desert, but of course if there's like a T-Rex, it's totally worth it. That said, that makes grind tiles in a dungeon a little bit more appealing. Of course, with those, you have to take time to scout. You have to hope that it's close enough to the surface so that you're not at risk of like wiping. Yeah, there's a lot of like risk assessment that goes into picking a black belt grind.
And I think we just have the 2 checks right now outside of the inner sea. We've got the Oxy Ale, which means if we want to go ahead and scour a sea for a loose, we can do that, or we can go to Crescent, which is much more likely to have something that's going to lead us to progression.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if I am in these runner's shoes, getting out of the inner sea here with the ship and canal, I probably immediately do the slab errand over in Melmond, and since you're there, you run across the continent, turn in the ruby, check those 4 chests before you head all the way over to Crescent.
That is a good point from Z-Man in chat. I don't believe Ganon's ever purchased that slab, and he has now left the Inner Sea.
Oh, man. Wow. All right. And yeah, he didn't even go up to Dr. Un to, like, try to turn it in and then just not. So that could be a run decider. Like, when it comes to these kinds of mental things, you never know, and you would hate to see it if he forgets about the vendor item.
And there's one more check that I did forget. We have the ruby, so we can go ahead and let the Titan munch on that. And if we want to, check those 4 chests down there on the way back, but we will see what Sarda has for us. And that is correct. You did see a level 5 warp that is learnable. So we do have some way to get in and out of places easier, at least, with exit not being learnable.
Yeah, exit's not till post-promotion, and this party basically never promotes. And hey, it's a crystal! I heard you like a fetch quest.
Everybody likes a fetch quest. Long run back, give Matoya her crystal, see what she's going to make us do next.
But here you see some runner convergence now that they've gone their separate 2 ways to get to this point. Marsh, Elfland, whatever first. They all ended up at the same spot. Will we see any loose items here in the Titan's Trove? Or just Procape rolled down? Nah, not much. Procape -2 is 6th absorb, so it's more than nothing.
That Opal Gauntlet may also sell for a little bit to stave off any woes we have when it comes to money. I know it was either Chanigan or ganonsgonewild that had very little money after leaving Elfland.
Yeah, I think he was down to 2 gold after he bought Cure 4.
Just enough to get those important spells from level 4. And ganonsgonewild not getting the encounter luck here, running into a pack of unrunnable Grey Wolves, which means that we're going to get Chanigan out first, and he's heading towards Earth to check those tiles.
Yeah, great play. You've got a black belt party. This is like spot number 1, and Ganon's is heading here too. So it's this whole continent is like a high density place to do chores and possibly get your black belt some levels.
Unfortunately, those 2 grind tiles in the Hall of Giants, not very interesting. Zombies and then an ogre pack and cobras in the other one. So not what we're looking for here. We are out.
We are on an A-side tile shuffle today. That means these are all the tiles that are in the original game, or roughly. Like the zombie tile I don't think exists, but most of the tiles from the original game shuffled between each other. So somewhere out there there's an Agama, there's an Eye, those are like the premium spots. We've seen the Red Dragon. There's also like the Seafood pack, there's the Mummy pack, a couple of kind of dangerous ones.
Yeah, that does sound right. And Chanigan is going to go ahead and give us our first check at the crystal turn-in. It is the Chime that's going to allow us access into Mirage Tower. Not up to Sky, though, but if we want, that may be a place to get a couple levels, check some chests, maybe. No loose there, but you may find something of interest if you want to check.
Yeah, a ribbon for your red... Oh, wait. A ribbon to put on your black belt while you grind so you can handle scripts is actually still a realistic help.
And I was going to say this may be hopeful for Ganon, since he's going by Corneria twice now in order to get this crystal turn-in. Maybe he'll think to go back and get the slab, but we've already missed it once now.
Yeah, if you're in Ganon's corner and assuming that everything's fine, believe what Cece said, that he's just coming back to get it after he gets the airship. But if not, then he's memory hold it.
And Chanigan now heading to our last quick check here. The Sages, seeing what they have, not even bothering to check with level 6 magic. And we are going to get the Rod. We're heading right back to Earth.
Yeah, Earth will... I actually don't mind just going straight back to Earth and following this anyways, because there's another incentive down there. It'll be scattered amongst the 8 bottom chests after the Rod Lock, and also there are 2 more grind tiles in the bottom of Earth. So you could theoretically do your black belt grind down there if you find a safe one.
And the good news is Ganon did realize, wait, I did not get that slab. Heading back to grab it, making sure it's not going to be forgotten. Going to probably talk to Dr. Une when we grab the Rod from Crescent. Heading back there, and we'll have both runners in Earth, I imagine, before too long here.
Fantastic. All right. You love to see everyone having their key items, so we'll stay competitive on the merits of how fast can they go, not how how much can they remember from shop inventories.
Oh, so actually pointed out by our tracker, CC in chat, he did not grab it. He grabbed houses instead, so he is... Well, he knows it's there. He's been there twice now.
Yeah,
And
he has to.
He knows he doesn't have it. I'm assuming he knows he doesn't have it. Because there's nothing you can really do with it now except get the 5% experience boost. He's decided that the houses are more important. And he is going to check desert. All right, we got our first desert check here.
All right, starting out with ankylos, which if you can punch through them, they give you some XP, but it takes a while to get to that point. They hit very hard.
Yeah, not very interested in this one here. You don't want to see ankylos, you don't want to see red ankylos, you want to see sandworms, and you want to see T-Rexes.
He's using the ship to maybe burn off steps a little bit more quickly than walking, which is actually a pretty cool idea. But this bottom zone here doesn't seem to have much, so he's going to want to head up to the other three.
I'm going to get our check at the southwest quadrant, and I believe... Yep, that's just more ankylos.
Okay, there's...
Tyros and wyverns, that's all right.
Certainly don't want your black belt to be dying, but maybe the reds will get some XP here. As long as they have life. Oh, they don't have life though. So you can't save this. He's trying to see the HP, and then he'll probably reset.
Looks like a fair bit of HP here for not quite the experience that you want.
Yep. Chanigan is diving Earth, is on, I believe, the 3rd floor here, same floor as the vampire. He's got an interesting party order. Looks to be kind of sacrificing one of the reds at the top to keep the other 2 members safe. He's crossed level 10, which is a key level for both these classes. At 10, the black belt would normally get an extra 2 hits, but we're hit maliced, so it actually won't be until 13 or 14. But the red mages do get their first charge of level 4 magic at 10. When he gets out of the dungeon, he'll be able to heal up and get some nuke action going.
Well, we would see on Chanigan's side there as well, one of the biggest pitfalls of this party of red mages and black belts, not the best at running away.
Yeah, that's the problem with going down to 4 bodies this early with this kind of party. Like, none of these things have a luck bonus, and none of these classes are good at running in the early game, so you really probably need the extra black belt at least until you got through a couple of dungeons. At least that would be my personal approach, but of course these runners are where they are for the reasons that they got here.
And the vampire was hiding a Fire 2 axe. Understandable. Vampire trying to hide something that would instantly decimate him. But that is going to be helpful for our black belt, giving them something to do rather than just punch weakly right now.
Yeah, the Grey Wolves having glare is really going to be an issue, though. Like, you're not going to dodge many glares. That's time elemental. You don't have any way to resist that right now.
And this is interesting on Ganon's side. Going to C. I'm going to try and get levels on everybody, it seems, or just getting one of the black belts up to take some hits.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a combination. Like, he'll get some decent levels because right side C has some good packs that you can clear with Fade. And, oh, 1 second, we got a cube here. Chanigan picking up the cube in the bottom of Earth.
Here come the Sky Chants.
But to continue on the Ganon's play, so decent XP right side C, you can pump Fade charges into these things. You'll have safer levels for diving like a dungeon more deeply later, and there's a chance that a pivotal loose item is here, and the loose item being in Sea Shrine could potentially just win Ganon's the seed outright.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact numbers. I want to say it's something around like 30%, maybe 25% that there's a loose in C, just because the density of chests. C and Volcano are the 2 real big locations that have a lot of chests that can have loose in them.
Yeah, it's like 35, 38%, something like that for Volcano, and like 25% for C. It's a little worse, but it's not terrible. It's certainly worth making a play, especially this deep into the playoffs, where you have to do something to stand out from your opponent.
As we have Chanigan making his way down to Lich's floor with just the 1 red mage and black belt. I'm not going to jinx it and say that Lich is going to be a pushover. I've already done that once, and that is huge for Ganons.
My god.
Canoe and Sea.
Yeah, when you see something like that, like, you know you made an off-kilter play. Like, this is the unexpected move here. Gets his movement from the Sea Shrine. I'm guessing Chanigan will end up in Sky first, trying to find a canoe. So Ganons will have a big movement advantage, and if he finds the floater, he'll be able to get in the air sooner too.
So we are going to go ahead and get Chanigan most likely being the first one here to light an orb, but having both loose, knowledge of that, you're not checking many other chests. You're going to be able to get your grind going with your Ganons. That can't be understated how huge that is.
Yeah, I think the other thing to note, he's leaving without checking every single chest. One, it's a little bit dangerous to hang around, and two, he's basically got what he came for. So there are still boxes in C, and they could have the other loose item. The other loose item might not be required. He's taking a sort of a series of calculated gambles here.
Well, no, we already have the second loose. It was Crown and Matoya, so he's not checking anything else.
Oh, you're right. Dang, we got a really early loose today. They didn't go to Matoya right off the get-go, which is why I think I lost track of it.
But yeah, that's getting that information. The sooner you get loose items on the black belt, the better, because then you know you're not making any other checks. You're only looking for a grind, and you're pretty much done. And thankfully, Lich did not have anything too bad on Chanigan's side, getting first orb lit just around the 24-minute mark.
Okay, this is also an interesting play. Ganons just continues to sort of impress with his decision-making. He's going left side C, which you might think, this is crazy, he hasn't ground any black belt up yet, whatever, but he's got 2 casters with like 4 or 5 fades each and 3 nukes each because he got some levels, so he's got a lot of damage, and he's got Invis 2, crucially, so he can Invis 2 up against Kraken and get there with AoE damage.
It's definitely a play that you think about making, and if you can pull it off, the sooner that you're able to get a Fiend down and you don't have to make a trip back here, the better. It's quite a bit of damage. You might wish that you have Brack, but you do have Bane. So if you want to try that instead, see if you can get the quick kill. That's an option.
That is also an option, yes. So Chanigan is going Sky, as we expected. He'll probably check the desert for grinds, of course, since he's got a black belt. He'll see more encounter zones than Ganons did. Ganons just saw the southeast and he dipped, but Chanigan's probably going to check all 4. So he might stop here to level. I don't think you would go up Sky without leveling a black belt first, because you do have to get through Tiamat. And it's just a risky dungeon in general with no ribbons and so forth. But yeah, this is going to lead to a lot of divergence, unless Floater's here. If Floater's in Sky, that'll send Chanigan back to sea to get the canoe, and it'll send Ganons to Sky. But maybe not after he does, like, a couple of dungeons in between.
Yeah, the one little saving grace there for Chanigan is that without the canoe, well, you actually don't want to see the floater, I think, if you're Chanigan. And the reasoning I have there is that if you do get the floater, that opens up. There's a T-Rex finally. It looks like in the southwest quadrant. I'm not sure after how many encounters that was. But I think if you find the floater, that opens up Volcano as a possibility for you to check for a loose. Whereas you couldn't do that normally if you didn't have the canoe. And that could be a big time sink for Chanigan.
Wait, he can't get to Volcano, though. He needs the canoe, and the canoe's in Sea Shrine.
Oh, that's right. No, you do need the canoe for the floater. Okay, so yeah, yep. Never mind that.
So it looks like Chanigan's going to try these T-Rexes. I didn't see how much damage the first one took, but it's socking the Red Mage really hard. However, it's got a script, so it's not always punching. Ganons was getting the business from some Sea Snakes and lost 1 black belt, and he doesn't have any life charges, because he's not promoted. So Ganon's operating with 3 members here, Chanigan with 1. They're doing very different things. Ganon's trying to clear a boss, Chanigan's trying to get some levels.
T-Rex with stop. That's not fun. And slow. Alright,
he's gonna... Yeah. Wow, that doesn't have much HP, though. If he's getting there with the Fire Axe, that's not much HP.
It looked like it did take a fade or 2 at first, but that T-Rex has definitely rolled on the low side.
Yep. So if you can just get to like 24, so you can get your 6th hit, and start hitting these things before the slow comes out, you're actually in like decent shape.
And we are having Ganons here ready to pull Kraken, seeing if we can go ahead and take him out.
Ooh, stop goes wide. Okay, but yeah, Fiend probably more exciting than one T-Rex, depending on who you ask.
Putting that black belt in front, which makes sense. Your damage is coming from the red mages with the nukes and the fades, so you want to make sure they're staying alive.
Yep, and he's taking advantage of the ruse stick, so he can invis up on top, or ruse up on top and vis on bottom. The black belt takes most of the hits there, and the red mages can start dealing damage.
Got the first nuke landing for about 180, 180 again on the second one. And I believe, if that's correct, that's right around like 430 HP for that T-Rex, so rolled almost minimum. And Kraken is down on Ganon's side. Big nuke takes him out.
Yeah, Kraken can range from, 800 to 1200 HP in these flags, so not too high. Nuke, of course, it's got really low special defense. Sorry, this is not Pokemon. It's got really low magic defense, so nuke's generally going to roll high and get you there. And that's our second Orblet. First for Ganon, but second on stream overall.
And yeah, Chanigan is taking care of these T-Rexes pretty quickly here, and it is off the reset, so that is nice to know. The only problem... Well, no, I wouldn't really say there's a problem here. It's still doing 6 hits. So 2 rounds pretty easily. We're going to get this black belt up to 42 or however high he wants to decide to take it.
Yep, and right now, for anyone who's like not familiar with watching black belt games play out, one runner is grinding, the other one's doing progression. It'll look at a certain point like Ganon's is maybe even far ahead because he's going to get a lot of key items before Chanigan, but Chanigan's getting the levels, and then subsequent dungeons, including Sea Shrine, will be faster for Chanigan in theory. That's why he's doing it now, so you might see him begin to overtake Ganon's as the next 20-30 minutes go by.
So we have Ganon's making the play into Waterfall after finishing up with C. Finding a Ghastly there, but deciding to run away from it. Ghastly is a pretty good experience.
Yep, Ganon's lost the black belt the first time in, and I think he reset to get it back. Yeah, he did, because he still wants to get the experience from the fights in here on the black belt, which is pretty important. Waterfall's got a surprising number of good fights. And one spike tile, which ended up being Sphinxes, but this could have been the eye.
Instead, it's the floater.
I'll take that. Honestly, probably better than seeing an eye here anyways.
So that is going to be sky access for Ganon. It's going to be able to get anywhere he's going to need to from here. So definitely a lead as far as progression goes for Ganon, but Chanigan is getting this black belt pretty quickly online, already up to level 30 now. So this is definitely going to be one of those things of how much can Chanigan catch up with the grind taken care of earlier.
Yeah, so for Ganon's, it was interesting. He opened 4 of the 6 boxes, didn't finish. He was either doing that off reflex and then like changed his mind like, oh wait, I don't need boxes. Or, I don't know. Me personally, I like to get the easy boxes while I can chance maybe something helpful like a ribbon or like an AoE item, but he already has the fire axe and the red mages can't wear ribbons, so I think he really doesn't want to open any boxes the rest of the game except for incentives.
It's looking like either Ganon's did not get warp on the red mages or just doesn't have charges because he is walking this floater out instead of just warping out.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of gold when he went through Melman the first time around, so probably wasn't able to afford it.
And he has the black belt down again, but with that floater in tow, you're not going to reset again. You're just going to try and get out of here as quickly as possible. But a very, very chunky Ghastly sitting in his way here.
Yep, chat pointed out that the nightmares in here had damage poison. That's normally what the gas dragons have. Thankfully, this gas dragon's not doing much that's scary.
So as Ganons makes his way out, Chanigan continues the rampage of trying to make the desert here extinct of dinosaurs. Up to level 35 now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we definitely know, like, both of these runners know that they should go to 42 plus with this kind of party. And I say 42 knowing the malice, of course, 45, 46, whatever. But you should go to that last hit to win this seed because your red mages are gonna die. To Topher, they're gonna die to whatever, to Zap or something. So you're gonna need a really reliable black belt to get you through. You can't really bank on having a fast caster. I'm wondering though if Chanigan gets all the levels now, all the way up to his last hit, or if he stops at about 42 and tries to get the last 3 or so, just walking, grinding with the red mage the rest of the seed.
And a good thing to point out about those red mages, we do know the malices are no ribbons that you mentioned in the beginning. We'd be looking for the wall spell. I don't think we found it yet, and that's through 5 levels of spells, so I don't think we're going to be able to count on wall either.
Yeah, absolutely. That did not come to fruition for them. Well, Ganons is out of the dungeon. He's revived his black belt. He's going to the floater turn by traveling southwest from here. That's probably fastest. I've actually never mathed it out from the northwestern dock. Chanigan is just hitting level 40. Very impressive there. He's certainly a few levels away from being done.
And no, Z-Man, we have not seen Fast or Temper yet. So those are also going to be level 6, 7, or 8, which is probably not going to be anything we're going to get. So what we have with the black belt's what we're going to get. But when it's 42, 43, 44... that's still pretty good.
Yep. And the black belt didn't lose anything as far as its like survivability, and it's in fact got extra HP. So I think just a super high level black belt guarantees you get through Temple of Fiends like 98% of the time. There are weird times where it like gets 3 and 256, but that generally you're safe once you get to the mid 40s.
As we see Ganon's getting the rod from the sages, heading back towards, I'm going to guess, Melmond to pick up some of the things that he didn't get there. And I have to imagine soon we're going to get that slab.
Okay, he is picking up warp. It's still useful. He hasn't been to Ice Cave, for example. That's a dungeon that warp makes much faster. Neither of our runners are in go mode yet. We haven't seen a key or a loot.
And we're down to, well, we have 2 dud items left, really. It's going to be the Saber Gauntlet. Probably not that interested in it. Maybe kind of helpful, but I doubt that you're really wanting to take turns to buff up a 40-plus black belt. And the Tail, highly doubt that we're going to be trying to promote with this party.
There's an argument that you go up really high with a black belt and then promote to get life. Exit's irrelevant at that point, but to get life 2 or life, whichever one was in the slot 4 at level 1. But like the red mages are more likely to die than the black belts anyways, so it's just about like maybe one of them gets punched and the other one can cast life. Yeah.
Yes, I mean you can get life 2 there. It is a commitment of running out the tail from wherever you get it, and then going to promote, and then purchasing it, which, that could be anywhere from only a minute to maybe a couple minutes, and is that time that you really want to take?
Yeah, it's all, I mean, these runners, they've played so many randomizer seeds. Everything they're doing today is a calculated, choice based on what things they're most likely to run into. For example, in the late game, what are your loss conditions? How does this party not get through? And so we'll see how they go. Chanigan's about to check the sky incentive.
It's the herb, and we found a French vanilla eye. 1 tile over from where it normally is in ice, so this may be Ganon's grind.
Yeah, he's going to do a full tour here, I think, of the grind tiles. No, he's actually just going to kill off the red mages. Okay, so he found a grind tile he likes. He's using the damage tiles down here to kill the reds. He's going to warp right before they die, let the eye kill them off, and then get to presumably 40 something in Ice Cave.
I do like this strategy, but I don't know that it's going to be the best grind. He doesn't have the knowledge of the T-Rexes. He checked a bit of desert, but not enough to find the T-Rexes. So this is still going to be able to get the black belt up to good levels, but I don't think it's going to be as quick as Chanigan's was.
Yeah, it's worse. It's not that much worse. You are taking fights more frequently, and you're gonna start up more quickly as far as like how fast you kill it. So you're gonna get like what, a third to like 45% of the experience of a T-Rex off of one of these eyes. But you're immediately gonna start pretty much killing them in one, if not two turns. Yeah, one turn. And you just step off the tile, step back on, step off, step back on. Assuming you don't run into a really terrible off-tile encounter, this should go about as fast as fighting in the desert off the long power cycle.
And while Ganons was prepping for his grind, Chanigan has taken out Tiamat and has lit his second orb at 38-35.
Yep, Chanigan got to the point where a Tiamat was no problem whatsoever. In fact, he soloed Sky from his level. It's pretty impressive.
And the key was the item here in Ice, so that is going to be required. Both runners are going to have to come here eventually to be able to get into Topher.
Mm-hmm. And because they've found both loose items, the key won't open up anything besides extra treasure and so forth, of course, and get you through the end game, but there's not going to be a Caneria locked or a Marsh locked or anything like that behind the key.
And we'll see what this herb leads to for Chanigan. We are going to get the bottle, so that's nothing we can do anything with right now, and that's going to just further push him in the direction of going to check C.
Yeah, it is honestly really interesting, the divergence in their routes now, because not only did they go different dungeons, and, you know, one of them found the progression, the other didn't, Chanigan also did the grind, so we're just like, we won't see these worlds converge for another, like, 15-20 minutes or something. It'll be really interesting to see who's actually ahead at that point.
Because Chanigan does have the grind, Chanigan does have the orb lead, but still looking to get the canoe into the airship. But this is the play you have right now. I don't think there's really anything else he can check, so he's going to find that canoe eventually, and see just how long it takes him to catch up to Ganons, which probably not going to take too long now that Ganons is on his grind. He is now up to level 24. Having a bit more key items does make this eye a little better than it would have been early game. Still, though, it's a little less than half of a T-Rex.
Yep, Math Girl in chat calling for another tie. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Great runners on a great pace. Their routes could absolutely lead them to simultaneous chaos fights. One reason I say that is I think each of them gained and lost something from how they did things. Ganon's getting to floater early is like more efficient travel through the world, right? He's going to be able to hit up the dungeons faster, and so he got a movement lead. But I think in general, a black belt party wants to grind early, so like Chanigan, he's going to have a faster Sea Shrine. So they're both gaining and losing different amounts of time off of these things.
It is a bit of an interesting choice to make whether or not you go for the grind early or you go for it a little bit later when you have more items to make that go quicker. Where do you save more time? Do you save more time by getting the grind done, taking an extra 3 minutes there, but blasting through all the dungeons, or is it quicker to find the incentive items, get through the grind? Like there's a sweet spot in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think history with this game generally has shown that the black belt player that grinds first wins. You need to get it done generally by the 30-35 minute mark if you're playing like standard flags. Also, shout out to Chanigan's black belt dealing 1-3-7 damage there to that gray shark.
Oh, he is an elite damage dealer.
But yes, Chanigan, as chat's pointing out, is full clearing C, so starting with the left side. These are generally quick fights. He's getting a lot of initiative, of course, and he's able to run fairly easily with that black belt in the top, so he's not going to lose too much time to the encounters. Who knows, maybe he picks up an opal bracelet. That's about the best thing you can find with ribbons off the table.
Yeah, it is still time lost. I mean, you're coming down here anyways to take out Kraken, but it is chests to open. It is extra fights to take. That only helps Ganon's really here, and it's going to make it even closer in the end once Ganon finishes his round.
Ganon's just crossed 32. Again, that's not the mark we're looking for with the minus 10 malice. 35 or so will be where he gets his 8th hit. I guess he's probably got another like 3 or so minutes to go here before he hits like mid-40s if he's going that high. And he's probably going to want to, because to get out of Ice Cave, you really, really, really want to make sure you can run from the mobs that you see, because you can still die solo in Ice Cave as a black belt. Very easily. Chanigan here dealing with a bunch of undead. These wizard mummies are actually kind of thick. They're surviving Fade, so he's going to have to go through a second round here. They have somewhat low not initiative, morale though, so they're actually running from his black belt. He chose not to use the fire axe on the black belt, which might have sped that up a bit. And meanwhile, Ganon's is dealing with this off-tile encounter here. If he's got the fire axe equipped, he should also be using it. Please, you're both facing undead. Use your fire axes. But he's going for the run strats. He's not taking much damage. I say that, though, but they have lit 3, so you might want to consider, unless the fire axe is on the dead black belt. Oh, you're right, Crabcakes. Yeah, the fire stick was in Earth, so Ganon doesn't actually have it. Okay. He's actually just in a really bad spot right now. If he loses his grind, it changes the entire shape of this race. The Wraiths are healing, which is annoying. It's a time loss, but he can't hit them. The Wraiths are so evasive, a level 32 black belt can't hit them. This is really bad. Okay, he got away. Thank God. You hate to see a race potentially end like that.
That is definitely the downside of this grind. The off encounter tile.
Chat is saying they lost game audio. I do not know. We can't hear it here in the booth. But Chanigan just finished Kraken, so Chanigan lights his 3rd orb at the 45-minute mark.
And more likely than not going to be heading directly to Waterfall after this, after getting the canoe from Mermaid's side, getting his floater.
Yep, so brief scare there, but Ganon's continues the progress. He just passed level 36. Chanigan going right side C, so he'll have a canoe very shortly.
It will be interesting to see if Chanigan checks many of the chests here on this floor before Mermaids.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Chanigan, same as Ganon's, basically once he has the second loose, he's going to turn around and not open another box unless he maybe slips into habit and opens some like convenient nearby chests. Clearing this floor first though, so he's going to be a little late to the canoe.
He's at least checking this one and probably the one by the stairs. We'll see if he checks any more. But every chest that he checks in here that is in the canoe, that's going to help Ganon's catch up.
Ganon's also stopped the grind early. He either didn't feel safe based on how that off-tile encounter went, or maybe he was low on pots, or just decided this is good enough. Like, there's a lot that could be going through his head there with the decision to stop the grind short. He also might feel behind, though, frankly, I wouldn't say anything he's done in the seed would indicate him being behind. He's had a pretty clean run, no major wipes. He got the Sea Shrine canoe early.
It is true. You might be worrying, though, that perhaps he missed a grind in Desert, which he did, and your opponent is blasting their way through the game currently, which they are. So you could be feeling behind there just because your grind started so much later, even though you did find that canoe early and got the airship on.
And Chanigan now in Waterfall. This is going to be the floater, so he'll be caught up and in the air soon.
We are still looking for loot. So that is going to be either Lefane, which would be fine. It'd either be a bottle turn-in, which will be fine, or it'll be ordeals, which will be annoying.
Yeah, we have a lot of unchecked locations left. I believe the we've had the Roostick for a while, but I believe the Saber Gauntlet is still on the table, as well as the tail.
Yeah, so bottle and slab will lead to 2 of those, and ordeals will be the third. It's just going to be a matter of which do you check first, and I would imagine with both runners in the air, you're saving ordeals until last.
Oh my god, Chanigan's Black Belt is doing so much damage. That he just did 2,300 to that poor Mud Goal.
Well, Chanigan's Black Belt's almost a 50, so
yeah,
we are going to get a fully online max level Black Belt here.
And by the way, for anyone who thinks these Black Belts are dealing ridiculous damage, this is with 50% of the vanilla crit rate. Vanilla Black Belts did godly damage. It was actually so good it had to be nerfed for the randomizer to be balanced.
As Ganons has made quick work of Volcano here, no need to really check any chests aside from the free ones, and we're going to go ahead and punch through Carrie's defenses without much issue here, I would imagine. And there is our level 50. Oh. Well, Carrie being a little cheeky there, Sleep Touch.
Yep. Carrie applying a status that you actually often will apply to Carrie. With Carrie being vulnerable to the status element, you'll see stuff like Confuse and Sleep and so forth used occasionally. But anyways, Ganons is through it with no drama.
So that is his second orb lit. Chanigan getting his floater, going to go ahead and take the path to turn that in.
The way the siege shook out, also there was no reason for either of them to ever go Volcano other than to clear Carrie, but it's still interesting how we've seen them go in such different orders for which Fiend they did.
Curious, Ganon's going to ordeals.
He doesn't have the bottle yet. The bottle came off of Sky, right? Yeah, bottle came out of Sky.
Correct.
So
he doesn't have the cube yet either.
That's right, because he hasn't been to Earth. Yeah, this is, I think, maybe a surprisingly delayed Earth Cave, given it's both an orb and an incentive for Ganons.
Yeah, I feel like going to Earth would be the better choice here.
But who's to say what are the machinations going through his mind? Chanigan looks to be translating the slab, so this will be a Lufane check in the near future. And he's got warp, so he's making heavy use of it to just get out of towns quickly and all the other things you can do that warp makes faster.
And Ganon still does not have that slab, I believe. At some point he's going to get it, right?
Yeah, you'd have to hope. Nice efficient ordering here. Chanigan's going to be able to turn in both the northeastern fetch quests around the same time.
Ganons is through the ordeals maze. I'm going to head here to see what the item is. This could be good for him if it ends up being the loot, because it means that he could end up skipping both the bottle and the slab. So it could be a huge brain play, never had to buy the slab in the first place. And there's one thing we don't need from the bottle tail, so 50-50 that ordeals is the item we need.
And of course he's zooming past all these boxes. Oh, just checks 1, 2. Oh, he's opening 2. Alright, changes his mind.
It is the loot.
Wow. the size of his brain this run. He got the canoe out of Sea Shrine and the loot out of ordeals. Gets to skip a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe he just intentionally didn't buy the slab because it's a cruddy fetch quest chain that takes a while and just wanted to avoid having to do it.
He's out here playing 7D chess.
Okay, so that is not go mode yet. Ganon still needs to go to Earth and get his cube, but basically it's no mode. I mean, assuming he's headed to Earth here.
I have to feel like that's the play. you need it to anyways to get your third orb. You know there's an incentive there. You know the incentive is more likely than not going to lead to something that you need.
Yeah, but Chanigan, hot on his heels, is doing ordeals. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but it ended up happening. Ganon's going to have a pretty quick Earth Cave. Not the quickest, though, because he didn't get his black belt so high that, like, all of the enemies will run. It'll just be these, like, arachnids and cobras and stuff, and maybe the wolves.
Gargoyle's running too, so that's a little bit of a help. We're down to basically here a couple of places left to go for each runner. Ganon's has to go through here and through Sky, and then he will be in go mode and ready to go into Topher. Chanigan needs to finish Ordeals and then get the key from Ice and finish Volcano.
Yeah. It is a bit interesting to see, like, Chanigan's tracker is way more lit up. He's done more stuff to get key items and has cleared more fiends, despite, again, taking that time for that longer grind earlier than Ganon's and being, late-ish to the canoe. So, I honestly, this is not where I thought we would be at 53 minutes. I would expect the trackers basically to be reversed.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it just so happens to have worked out that everything Ganon's has skipped to this point has not really been necessary, so he's been super efficient in what he's needed. But I still get the feeling we're going to be very close heading into Topher.
Yeah, same.
Chanigan with one of our fun percent flags there, replacing the loot with a random musical instrument, and we're getting a gong. Play the gong song for Chaos. Play him out.
Yep. Speaking of fun flags and changes and so forth, I think these runners went with totally straight up spring tournament flags, none of the optional alternate changes that you may have seen in other races this tournament.
No, nothing of note that I saw in the race room beforehand. It looks like this is just the standard flags, no forced war mech, no surprise sky maze. As Ganon's getting his cube there, which is now go mode.
All right. Well, it's it's a foot race at this point. There's very little left for either of them to do. Chanigan's got an orb in front of him, and then an ice cave with warp. That's going to be really fast. He's not going to be stopping to grind in there. Ganon's has to slog a bit through the end of Earth, and then run up Sky as quickly as possible. But honestly, I think Chanigan has maybe even a solid, 4 or so minute lead at this point. Like, Sky is kind of long. It's longer than just warping out of ice.
That's true. It does look like a bit more of a lead for Chanigan. Getting through Volcano is really easy with all of the free lava tiles that you don't have to take encounters on. And Ice is going to be pretty quick to get the item from. And with Chanigan having a max level black belt, probably in the driver's seat.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it also makes his Temple of Fiends Revisited more likely to be a one-time clear, especially lacking Fast and Temper, as we are. Ganon's did the minimum of, the required checks, so he also doesn't end up with the Saber Gauntlet or the tail. So, really, there's not a lot of safety and maybe slightly underpowered offense on Ganon's side, so Chanigan also has a more favorable endgame coming up here.
As we're down to the final check on each side, Chanigan going to Ice, Ganon's going to Sky.
Yeah, we can pretty much just see a head-to-head comparison because they lit their orbs around the same time. So it's Ice versus the travel time to Sky, and running up, 7 floors. Ganon's going to hit, a good 10 encounters, 11 encounters on his way up. Maybe more if Bridge of Destiny is bad.
One thing to keep in mind is that we do not have life, because we're not going to go ahead and promote these red mages to red wizards to get the slot 4 level 1 life 2. So if the red mages go down on Chanigan's side, I mean, you still have the 50 black belt, but nothing else in the way of stopping them from taking damage.
Also, you said the red mage is plural, but of course he's been running 2-man, so his other red mage is not very sturdy. It's not going to have a lot of hit points or MDef or anything, so Chanigan's a little bit vulnerable in that regard. And I could absolutely see if he wipes once, maybe considering going and getting life on the higher level red mage.
And he's not even bringing those other two up. It's just going to be the 50 black belt and the 20-something red mage going in.
Wow. All right. I respect this. This is basically your speed and power strat, right? Just like go in gunning and hope for the best possible outcome. Hope Kraken doesn't back row the the red wizard or red mage into you getting like slow 2'd on Tiamat.
It is very aggressive, but I feel like when you've gotten to the semifinals here and you're going up against, a very high quality player, aggressive plays are the plays to make. You don't want to play it safe at this point.
Yep. So Ganon's still probably about 3 minutes from clearing Tiamat. Probably like 2.5, 3 minutes, yeah. And Chanigan is already down a few floors away from Lich.
Curious that Ganon is picking up the herb here. It's not going to lead to anything that he needs.
Probably a Hail Mary for the tail or the saber gauntlet.
That does feel like the play of somebody who I would imagine thinks that they're behind and that they're hoping for a bad Topher.
I mean, it's like 20 steps out of the way, 30 steps out of the way. I think you always check that chest to increase your odds of winning, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, well, what are you getting it for in this case? You have really everything that you need to head into Topher.
Just the saber gauntlet in case like it's a really high absorb whatever Tiamat chaos, because you don't have temper or fast.
I suppose so.
Okay, and we are coming up on we're gonna get a lot of experience that doesn't really matter at this point on these Skirmaduses, but we're coming up on the Lich Revisited fight here for Chanigan.
And while that red mage does not have a ribbon, it is over 400 HP, so if we do get a terrible nuke pop out, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and if anything is bad is going to happen on these Fiends, it needs to happen fast, because this is basically a 2 to 3 turn clock in Chanigan's case, right? He's got the offense that Ganon's is lacking. Max level Black Belt is just very reliable. There's a nuke, it literally can't kill either team member, and Chanigan responds by one-shotting carry.
And an entirely encounterless fire floor. They're very nice.
Ganon's working on his 4th Fiend here with the double reds, punching respectable damage from the Black Belt, a couple hundred. The nukes are coming out. He's trying to go all damage strats here, and Tia is down, so that's 4 orbs for Ganon's.
And it does look like about what you said, about a 4-minute differential, assuming Ganon's gets into Topher in the next 30 seconds or so.
Yeah. Definitely still a close one, and something that could absolutely be swung, maybe even by these random fights, right? Chanigan's red mage is kind of getting the business there from those Wizsay hacks.
See, I'm not sure what the heal pot situation is on Chanigan's side, running into some unrunnable Gersh Sharks and Wizzahags.
Yeah, unrunnables on the seafloor are about the most dangerous you can see, except maybe like unrunnable vampire pack on the next floor. There's some really nasty stuff down here.
Let me tell you a tale about unrunnable nuke worms steps before chaos.
Oh, that is also a thing that can happen in this randomizer. Anyways, Ganon's brought the whole team up, so he's got 4 members coming in to Topher. He's entering at just about 101. And Chanigan just passed some waters, is about to pull Kraken too.
Pointed out in chat, Ganon's bought the slab at the end there. Sure. Why
it's
not?
Extra XP. Oh wow, Chanigan keeps getting like just steps from Kraken and gets another encounter. So here we have the seafood party platter.
Doesn't seem like they're doing too much except being annoying. And we are now on Kraken.
Yep. Attack and wow.
Okay, bye.
The red mage's action was actually irrelevant. I was thinking maybe he should cast Lock. No, it just one-shots it.
No, I think I'll just cast Fist instead. Ganon's is making good time here, getting ready to head into the lower floors of Topher, but...
Ow!
Ooh,
wait, Thunder?
Whiz-Vamps with Thunder. Almost taking out that red mage.
Yeah, that could have been a horribly bad for him, because then you get into the territory of, alright, well, this is a high evade Fiend, and it's got slow 2 and cure 4 and yada yada, but still has 2 members, so still has a hope and a dream.
We've yet to have a second Fiend fight last more than one round. And now we do. Maybe. Yes, Tiamat lives to see another day and has nuclear.
That was a really high roll. It nearly max rolled on the Red Wizard, but it didn't matter or Red Mage rather, because of the high HP. Thank goodness for those HP blessings.
Yeah, those blessings are really turning out to more than make up for the lack of a ribbon, because 500 plus HP on a Red Mage, that's not really even close to level 30 yet, I don't think. That's helpful. We get a glitch pull just about the same time as a chaos pull on Chanigan's side.
Alright, reordering the party, putting the most important thing on the bottom. Hopefully this Red Mage can tank a few hits while it casts, I don't know, Nuke or Lock.
Oh, Chanigan left 1 HP off of that black belt. That may prove crucial.
He led off with Invis 2 on the Red Mage, also a great opening in case Chaos is very punchy. Which it is, but we've got a lot of HP to soak with, and we could be just one turn away from victory here, barring any kind of shenanigans. Shenanigans?
Yeah, I think we're about done here. We're done. That was a 3 or 4 turn chaos, very quick. GG's in chat for Chanigan, the winner of our game 1 here, with a racetime.gg time of 1:03:30.
Very impressive. Great time on these flags, black belt or otherwise. Just a really, really well executed seed. Good, straightforward plan. Grinded up and took care of business. So GG's Chanigan, who has also joined us in the booth. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
First off, how do you feel getting your first win in a best of 3 in a big match like this semifinal?
It feels great. A very, very linear seed on my part. Like, just going from point A to point B, following the key item chain. Like, there were no no choice except after getting the floater.
Was there any worry on your side at all finding that canoe in C that maybe Ganons may have gone there early and gotten it?
Maybe, but see that early is very dangerous. So I doubt he would have gone C. It's possible though, but I'm taking like I have the cube chime. He probably has the same thing. Like he's grinding in desert, doing air orb and just going C shrine after that. That was my thought.
Yeah, you'll find out, in fact, that he did just about everything the opposite of you. He's, however, on Tiamat right now. These fights are not free, by the way. He's fighting out Tiamat with a sub 40 black belt. So he does get through Tiamat. We'll see how Chaos goes. He's got a lot of HP on these characters, but not a lot of individual punch damage. He's got to deal with these vampires first, which, by the way, we were a little scared for you when the thunder came out of the red.
Yeah, that thunder. Yep. No, it wouldn't be too bad since I had the Roo stick, but just in case Chaos had like slow 2 or something like that, or just if he goes nuclear almost back to back and almost max rolls me, like, just in case I need a healer. It would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been impossible.
Ganons is pulling Chaos right now, leads with a fade from one red mage, fade with the other, so really just damage. Roo stick on the black belt, so he's going to try and make this black belt have as much longevity as possible. Looks like an Invis there maybe, or another fade with the second red. Invis 2, okay, so he notices that Chaos is punchy, he's getting a little bit of defense up. This is a strat that will probably work barring something that can like insta-kill the black belt or maybe wear him down through like multiple nukes or nuclears. He's lost one red mage, 8 hits from the black belt, only 300-ish damage. It'll be slow, but Chaos with 2,000 to 3,000 HP will eventually die to this pace of damage. 400 a turn or so. The red mages are gone. He's got 652 HP in a dream. Zap goes wide. Black belt comes out, 200-ish damage. Chaos responds with a miss. Black belt hitting for 480. That's pretty good. Ganons is looking for a crit loop. I don't think he needs one. And There it goes. Chaos dies to 542 damage. And Ganon's, get your GGs out in chat for Ganon's Gone Wild, has finished second place with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 19 seconds.
So we did have a bit of an absorby chaos there. So we did have just a little 40 black belt doing quite a bit less damage than Chanigan's black belt, but absorb doesn't matter too much when you have a 50 black belt.
Oh yeah, no, there's almost nothing can handle that 50 black belt.
Yeah, your thing was just walking around deleting fiends, as it were. And welcome to the booth, Ganon's Gone Wild, GG.
GG.
Jesus, I can't talk. GG Ganons.
It's just 2 letters, GG, Ganon's gone. Anyways, so the thing I think we'd love to talk about between the two of you is just the massive route divergence. Ganon's went different places, progressed differently, grinded differently than you. Tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind with that C play, Ganon's.
I just forgot that Crescent Lake existed, so I never went there. And then I just tunnel visioned on C and was like, well, I don't want to do C at like level 10 with nothing. So I tried to check the desert, and I didn't want to commit to checking every quadrant in the desert because it takes forever, and the first encounter was like 20 steps or something. So I just said, screw it, I'll just do mermaids and get a few levels, and then I have a million nukes, and I have a ruse stick and invis 2, and hopefully we can just kill Kraken. The canoe I thought had to be there because I forgot that Crescent Lake existed, so I got the canoe and was like, okay, everything makes sense. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh right, because Sages had the rod. That explains the late Earth.
Yep.
Okay.
So it does turn out that it was a bit of a difference in the grind there. You did check, it looks like, I think, just the one quadrant in desert. The southwest quadrant had T-Rexes off of the reset, and that's what Chanigan used to grind.
I've tried to check the southwest one. I think I skimmed through the VOD. It looked like it was the northwest one, but I don't know.
Yeah, I checked all quadrants, and yeah, I found the T-Rex last.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
so it might have been northwest then, yeah.
that's why that's why black belt parties are just really the peak of rando, is because this is what happens in like 80% of races. It's just that's what we're basically hoping to see, is who gets the better grind in every race. So looks like he got the better one in this one, although the the eyes weren't too bad in ice, but it's still a waste of time to set everything up, and then I lost a lot of time on that random encounter. So it's
those wraiths and stuff were scary. You tried to punch back one time and you couldn't even hit the wraiths.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't know. I just missed somehow with like 8 hits.
Oh wow!
I think I only had 6, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the eye grind compared relatively favorably for a few different reasons, because you were already a higher level to start it, and they were getting one shot, and it's just step off the tile, step back on, step off, step on, versus resetting and going like 20, 25 steps for the T-Rex. Honestly, grind pace I don't think was the problem for either player. It was really just like a confluence of factors of how did you route through the seed, was your order efficient, which dungeons you went to and stuff, and ultimately there was a little bit of a snowball from Chanigan just choosing to go to a higher level earlier on his black belt.
Yeah, everything in Waterfall having 400 HP and being unrunnable was extremely slow.
Oh yeah, Crabcake's pointing out in chat that Chanigan had warp for a lot of those situations where you didn't get it until later.
Yeah.
So you two have game 2 coming up, it looks like tomorrow at the same time. Any ideas, any changes you're going to be making in the draft process?
I expect to play the exact same party tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you know me too well.
More black belts and red mages for everybody to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like this party's pretty much trash, but it is what it is. So I really enjoy not being able to run from anything ever.
I mean, you could always throw in a thief, get cheeky. We'll see, right? Maybe tomorrow brings something different.
Yeah, it depends on the blurses.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that will not result in a black belt is probably like -1 hit rate per level, so we'll see.
All right, so we are going to be excited to see you both back in the race tomorrow night. For now, why don't we start wrapping up this broadcast? We'll go to final thoughts for the runners, starting with you, Chanigan, our winner tonight.
Yeah, GG Ganons. You know, I think you know me. You know I love black belts, and that's why I made you pick first for this draft. I just wanted to see where you went, and thank you RPG Limit Break. Thank you guys for commentating, restreaming, and everything. And yeah, I'm really hyped for tomorrow.
And Ganons, your thoughts?
Just yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Cool. All right, well, appreciate you two coming in and giving us that interview. We'll wrap things up here. Thanks everyone for tuning in to RPG Limit Break tonight to watch this broadcast of the tournament. There's another race happening in just about 2 hours, so please come back by then. Duskbloom, it's been fantastic commentating with you. My thanks again to Crabcakes for tracking for us. And you can also follow Final Fantasy Randomizer, the Twitch channel, RPG Limit Break, and the Speed Gaming channels. That's where you'll find the tournament action here for the Final Fantasy Randomizer. Go ahead and join our Discord. You can go to finalfantasyrandomizer.com and find links to the Discord there, or just start playing your own randomized games. I believe we have links in chat here. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can also follow the links in chat. And Duskbloom, say anything else you'd like? I think I'm good here.
Nope, just happy to have everybody here to watch a great Game 1 of the semifinals. We will see you all later on tonight for Game 2 between Rubes and Wildham, or tomorrow for Game 2 between these two runners. Everybody have a wonderful night. We'll see you later.